going to start. And what we can do is we don't need any tools just yet. And I'll go with you, we'll play the game, kind of round robin, okay? The important thing here is that if I'm going to be the defender, one of you guys at any point, we're just going to walk, you can stay, you can stand straight, you can blade yourself, do whatever you want, and at some point, you're going to try and reach for wherever you want, whether it's your belt, your pocket, your back, anything like that, okay? And my job is to just try and touch. That's the game. Okay.
Of where we're reaching? Or just touch the line?
Just touch for now.
Just touch, yeah.
I have a habit that says I'm going to do it, but if you just touch, that's the base skill. Because we're trying to get ourselves into the mode to push off, and the brain into that reactive mode. So when we see motion, we're reacting to motion. Okay? The good thing about this is because we tend to, action is always faster than reaction, right? The difference is, if you're controlling the distance, right? For me to launch in, that's one beat, okay? For someone to draw a weapon is two. They have to reach, and sometimes three, depending on where it is. They have to acquire some type of a decent hold, and then attempt to present it, okay? So there's a little bit more time. So judging distance is important. I have in my notes here, for every person, if you're not working on your footwork, you're leaving yourself a problem, okay? I have to know how fast I can cover distance, right? So if our initial confrontation is here, that's kind of far, which makes me feel a little bit safe, unless he has a gun, right? And being this far is only good for me if I have a way out, okay? So if I can get this distance and you're not really actively pursuing, I don't mind this distance because I'm starting to think, all right, what can I throw his way so I can get the F out of here, right? If not, then I know I'm stuck. Now I'm trying to safely play that distance game where he thinks that I'm in range of him, but really he's in range of me. You know what I mean? So this is the bait. Hey, listen, guy, right? And what I might do is I might start, right? If I notice he's a righty, I might offset myself a little bit here. Hey, bud, and see if he's tracking, right? If he starts tracking, that's important. Then I might just go. As soon as I see him tracking, I might just go. Okay? But I want to start moving a little bit to the non-dominant side, because even if they get a hold on that, they're going to have to redirect, try to acquire the target and move to their non-dominant side and get me with it. So it gives me a little bit of an extra beat, a little bit of extra time there. Okay? So here's what I'm going to do. Just to demonstrate, I'll go first, right? So we're going to walk here. I'm going to try and stay in my decent push-off range. You'll notice I'm not square, so I want to have my power leg placed so I can launch off, right? So as I move in the hay, right, I need to tone. See, it's what down, right? Hey, listen, I don't know what's going on. Right? That's it. That's all good. That's the game. Just trying to get used to that launch. Okay? We'll add on to that as we go, right? So, now, you're up. Bad guy, good guy. We're just going to play for a couple seconds and we'll move around. Like I said, is that you're working your footwork, and if you train in any martial arts that have a significant focus on footwork, that's great. Use it working your diamond patterns, your cross patterns. Just physical fitness is important too, right? You don't want to launch yourself and blow out your Achilles, right? Or blow out your groin because your body is not accustomed to dynamic movement. So conceptually, knowing how to move in a straight line dynamically or how to use your angles, that's important, but also being physically involved and active is super important too. Positions, bridging the gap, okay, controlling distance, right? So we're gonna, like I said, very cumulative. We're gonna work on building this up now. We have our breaching that we're working on, okay? Let's work on the actual draw disruption, okay? Draw strokes for knives or guns are essentially the same, right? You have to find it, right, wherever it is, whether it's in a pocket, under a jacket, in the back, right? So there's the initial hold, right, initial grip, right? You have to withdraw from wherever it is, and you have to present, almost like firing a firearm. 1, 2, 3, right? And then maybe punch out, and that's essentially it, okay? So, what we want to try and do at a minimum is stop that draw stroke at 0, 1, or 2, okay? 0 is, I already know it's about, no, before that, right? We talked about preemptive striking, or preemptive attack, right? So that's that super gray area. And you, whatever, you know, right? It's it. It's about to happen. Or maybe not, but you don't give a shit because you don't want to take a chance, right? So you're confronting me. I already know this is a potentially violent encounter, even if it's just verbal right now. Screw it. Any second he's going to go. And I might launch myself in, right? Before that initial movement, right? Before they attempted to go to step 1, right? The motions are the same, okay? We're going to keep that down to 2 or 3 potential movements, okay? Right? The simplest one is a good old 2-on-1, okay? So if I'm going to go ahead and bridge this gap, and I think he's a righty, something has indicated he's a righty, what I'm going to do is I'm just going to go in, pull my hand like so, I'm going to try and grab that wrist. Okay, this is the simplest of the holds, okay? It's also one of the most likely to miss. Okay? Like when you see in movies someone trying to catch a punch out of midair, right?
So you can't do that?
On the right day. Okay? But for now, we're going to launch in, right? And try to grasp at that lower part of the body, okay? Right? This is all I want to do. Again, I'm trying to keep it safe, guys. I'm not insulting your intelligence or your ability. We're just going to launch in and try to grasp. We're probably going to want to bump against each other a little bit, but we'll stop it there. Okay? We're going to keep an eye on each other. We're going to go right for it. Okay? That's going to, I'll show you the other one. So it's going to be, that's going to be one. Right? It's going to be this. Right? It'll be this one. Right? Right? I call this the cradle. Right? People call it different stuff everywhere they go. You know, whether they call it a Russian, I think the Russian's on the outside. Okay? We're going to work that transition afterward. Okay? And then we have a hack as well. Okay? And there might be some variations in there that we play with as we go, but we're going to stay with those 3 primarily. Okay? So come on in, and I'll work with you first. So just to demonstrate, you're going to go for your draw. I'm going to try to go ahead and grab. Okay? Hey, easy, buddy. Easy. Come on, man. I don't know what's going on. Just back up. Okay? Okay, good? Yep. Right? You'll notice I'm using that shoulder and I'm keeping my body. It's not, the motion doesn't end when you make contact. I'm not getting here and freezing. The idea should be, and we're getting into the conceptual stuff, right? Interrupting the draw, redirect is a little bit out of place if the draw completes, right? So let's say I have my little tool here. If you're attempting to interrupt the draw, right, but this happens, and it comes, it comes out,
Yeah.
right, I'm going to at least be trying to keep it redirected, right? Right? In a safe direction, okay? Right? Controlling the limb. Right? Controlling the person is important too. So that's the part that we're talking about taking contact, right? If we become static, if I get here, okay, and I become static, he's not stupid. Even someone with no training whatsoever is not going to stall for more than a second or two, right? Particularly if they were already in that predatory mode, right? The only way for me to force you to be defensive is to force you to have to correct yourself, okay? That happens through controls. Not just control of the limb, but control of the person's center, right? So I want to keep him trying to work for his balance, right? Unless someone has a good amount of training, their mind isn't going to be able to do two at once, right? We've been around enough, somebody pushes on me, I can let myself go backward and be planning on what I'm going to do next. Okay, no problem. I'm either going to swing them all the way, I'm going to roll them, or I'm going to drop them, right? Not a problem. Most people, especially if you get them really, their center, their hips behind their feet, and they're backpedaling, that's what you want, ideally, right? So we'll be careful about that. So we got the 2-on-1, right? The movement, boom, in, and then this movement's taking place. And you would have, see my head here, right? The chin is tucked, the shoulder is in, right? As I'm moving, right? Because often in the controls that we go to, I'll start using my head, right? As we're applying pressure and moving into different things, okay? Right now we're just going to bridge, 2-on-1, we'll work the other ones after that. We're going to do also non-dominant hand, or what we perceive, what we'll do our not dominant. Okay? A little something to it. Okay? So we're going to add a little bit of variety to this, and a little bit more variability to it now. Right? It ups the stress a bit before we even go on to the other holds. Okay? Here's what we're going to do. And you'll notice I make sure I demonstrate first. Okay? Because if it's going to suck, it's going to suck for me. Right? So I want you guys to go ahead and take these. Alright? Hide it any way you want. Little mirror over here. Good? Good? Okay. Here's what we're going to do. I'm going to be confronted by both of you, all right? One of you are going to draw out of time because we're not doing multiple attackers. That really sucks. And all this you see in movies about multiple attackers is garbage and lies. Okay? What this does is it forces me to have to react to. It starts to reduce a little bit of that training artificiality, right? So this 1-on-1, there's no surprise. No one's going to come. Probably right on it. You know, that kind of shit, right? At least now I don't know which one of you's going to do it. That's what we're going to do each other. Okay? All right, all right. You guys are doing spread of pricing, huh? Right? Go! One of the other reasons for bridging the gap and making contact is if I miss a little bit here, right? If my hands come off, if my thumb's not right, this could automatically turn into other things pretty easily, right? If my thumb does this, or if I just miss entirely, because I'm going for it, it can become lots of other stuff, okay? Whereas if I try to catch it on the way out, right, and I miss, right, it's tougher to make it into other stuff. Okay? So we want to be able to be already inside so that we're aware from the shoulder down what's happening here. This tells us everything we need to know just about. Right. Okay? All right, so we're working bridge. We're working the 2-on-1, right? Let's go ahead and start, right, going right to, you can either go from your 2-on-1 to your cradle, okay? Now, the best way to catch this, right, again, you have any pockets? Yeah. Right? This is going to be pocket. This is where the best place for me to catch you. This is where I really want to catch you, okay? Because now you're hung up on your own pants,
Yeah.
right? I have a sense of where that is. If that wrist starts to point up at me, probably not a knife, okay? And odds are, I hate to do this, right? Odds are, again, we haven't been confronted by an assassin, right? Right? I'm not a trained gunfighter. Odds are they're going to start pulling the fucking trigger once in the pocket and shooting at the ground, right? Hopefully at their own knees or foot.
Yeah.
Hopefully not yours if you're like this.
Yeah, boom.
Right? One of the reasons once I make contact, unless I'm moving, I try to be here. Okay? There's some distance. This void here gives me two things, right? It makes it hard for anything that to affect my leg. Let's say this. You wrestle a little?
A little bit, yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
What are you gonna do? I didn't say that.
Yeah, no, his leg's right there, so I go this.
Right?
Do that trip, yeah.
Yeah,
Some of
absolutely.
the rest of the jiu-jitsu.
Right? And people don't necessarily have to be trained to do that. You know, just guys who fight a lot will do that. Right? So if I get on that inside, right? If I wind up here, this is where I'll try to have myself if we get hung up. Right? You know, I'm driving him here, and as soon as there's resistance, I change this. Okay? That's important. That's your classic judo jiu-jitsu skill. Okay? If I get his hips behind his heels, right? I don't care, I'm just gonna keep on going. If I leave this and he comes back into me, this is transition. Okay? And all you're gonna do is open the door. Okay? Step in. Just working the angles in your rotations. And the more you do that, the easier it is for you to keep your center over your foot as you move, so you don't destabilize yourself. Okay? But for now, let's work on, so here we are, right? Reach happens, boom, 2 to 1, cradle. Okay? We're gonna work that, right? And then we'll work transitions from here.
2 to 1, the cradle.
Yeah. Cradle, and then we'll just do that for a little bit. Okay? So as we do this, later on, we're going to get a little bit more into more whole scenarios, not real scenario-based training, but we'll play the entire engagement out. Right now, it's important to kind of start getting familiar with the positions and how to move from one thing to another. But the important thing, again, you're going to keep on hearing me reiterate it, is that having the skill to bridge that gap quickly and efficiently, first, and then secondly, the ability to take some type of control, regardless of what it is, of that threatening tool, that threatening limb. And remember, particularly when we get into firearms, the thing on the end of the arm is the thing you have to be most dangerous, most afraid of. Okay? It's like swapping out the bit on a drill, right? You swap out the tools, it's irrelevant. You need to break that motor. So we talk about if we're going to be doing 2-on-1s, right? Right? We'll do that first because it's safer than the next thing, right? So the 2-on-1s puts you in a position where you either have to use your head here, right? You have to use your legs, right? Or you have to release the hand, okay? Sometimes I've seen this stuff where they'll go to here, right? They'll try to control, and then they'll let go and start punching.
Yeah.
Okay? I just like this because it's very, very unlikely, right? Unless I can do this quickly, it's still not likely that it's going to be enough to take him completely out of the fight from this range, right? And he's just going to withdraw the arm, right? Right?
Especially if you, like me, I sweat a lot, so if I'm sweating, I'll probably pull out you.
Slip right
right?
out.
Even if it's
If
strong.
there's clothing on, that might be slippery, there might be all kinds of stuff there, right?
You guys are fighting in the bar, you smoke drinks.
Might work to your advantage or not. Like if we have jackets and stuff on, I might get here and grab jacket or sweater, and that might help a little bit. But again, it's too many variables to judge, so I want to avoid that because there's too much that can go wrong. Okay. So I would certainly prefer. Once I have hands on, I don't take them off, unless I know I have something else happening here. Like if we're grappling and we're on the ground and I have like a hammer lock on, or I've got something that I can hold it with just the one, then I might start laying elbows or get up and start doing some pounding. Or if I can get it trapped underneath the knee, right? Then I'll hammer away a little bit. But other than that, my hands, once they're on, are not coming off. Okay, so let's talk about what happens then. If we get on here, right? On the way in, if you do this, you get your head down, you might use that. Okay? On the way in, okay? We're going to be very careful not to do that, gentlemen, because we don't have headgear.
Yeah.
Right? Right?
That's right.
Later on, I've got some headgear with face cages. We can play that if we want a little bit later, okay? But for now, we're going to take it easy. Okay? Here. But here's the important part, right? Because we're already kind of working, understanding the needs, right? Right? We'll tend to aim for the groin. But the most important thing to remember. So here's the thing I learned from one of my favorite kung fu teachers ever. He's one simple question. What is a kick? What is a kick? A kick is just a step. A kick is just a step with a special dynamic to it. Okay? And how that applies is that as soon as you get to here, or on the way in, right? Crowd does this all the time. Back, right? Okay? Even if I'm going here, that initial step in, shoulder, head, this, if I can get it, might be my first. My step was my kick. Okay? And every subsequent step is going to be, right? Every step that happens next is going to be, right? It might be in the groin, right? Or whatever. You don't have to look, right? Whereas this is where I'm just going to swing it at the knee or start hacking away at it as I go. Right? You miss, fuck it, you miss. Keep on pushing. Right? Just keep on going.
That's where I like my Muay Thai from.
Oh, yeah.
I like my knees. That's from Muay Thai and the elbows. Because though, like you said, like over the arm.
Well, it's just business, right? So if you check, if you check,
Yeah. Did you have it? And elbow in, hold it back.
there's other positions you get to here. You want to flip in. That's not bad either, right? Then you start doing the shoulder bumps or the forearm bumps, these things.
Oh, yeah.
Okay? So those are really are quite they're controls, right? To help disorient. Okay? So let's focus right now on getting the 2-on-1, right? Here, we're going to control, right? So we're going to get this and we're going to work the walk. Nice and easy. Okay? Whatever's here. Right? Walk. Manipulate you over. Right? Right?
So you can either thighs, you can either stomach.
Anywhere that your knee will reach as you're moving.
Yeah.
Don't reach for it and try not to do this. You know what I mean? Right?
Fall.
So, and that's why I'm thinking about it as a step rather than a knee strike. I'm just stepping, and I'm going to bring my knee up higher as I do it. And whatever I get a piece of, I get a piece of. Okay? Let's do some work.
No, I leave that. No, I'm talking to myself. Oh, you have a cup on? No.
Yeah.
So if I slip,
Just don't.
no, I was talking to myself too.
That doesn't mean it's over
Yeah,
yet.
that's shit. No, I was talking to myself too. I put that last one and moved back.
Yeah.
I think I was overreaching height.
That's okay. No, I think it's through. Yeah. That's raw.
Ooh, good.
So you used to teach people to lean with their knees.
Yeah, right.
But when you're in close, yeah.
When you're, as part of your training, in weapons handling, shooting, marksmanship, trying to become a gunfighter, right? One of the things you make sure that you do are failure drills, right? You have to work failure drills. Kind of what we're talking about here. Things are inevitably going to go wrong, right? Right? You're going to have a misfeed, right? A failure to eject, right? Or you just run out of ammo and you weren't paying attention to where you're at, right?
Yeah.
So emergency reloads, okay? Those moments are probably the greatest learning points for all of your shooting, right? Besides the fundamentals, right? Loading, sight picture, trigger speed, all that kind of shit, okay? The moment that you're working on the failure is where you get the greatest amount of benefit, okay? Because it trains the mind to immediately transition to solution. In the case of firearms, we know because they're mechanical objects, there's only 2 to 3 options for solutions. Generally, it's just tap and rack, okay? And if it's not tap rack, it's tap rack reload, right? Eject, okay? So that's easy. The mind can work on that easy. Okay? It's different when we're talking about, humans, non-mechanical items, right? Right? So we need to train in for failure. We need to train in for when I go through this tuna one here, I fail to go to my cradle, right? And I wind up with this double under. Yeah. Okay? That's okay. So we need to work on how do you transition right when this happens, right? If I'm here, again, following the same idea that I want to try and keep him moving, right? Maybe that fails too. If I get to here, right? First thing I'm going to do is I'm trying to drop when he's down. Okay? In here. Right? You don't have a lot of time. So you wind up here by accident, drop. Okay? Now, where we are again. Hand comes up, drop. The reason that we're going to drop is because moving on this line is easier than moving on this line.
Yeah.
Okay?
One direction.
Because gravity's going to help me here. So if I wind up screwed up here, and this might even start to turn into a choke, right? Oh crap! Something like that. I'm just going to drop my weight, right? And then once again, if possible, I'll transition. Yeah. Okay. Again, notice how I have these always attached to me. Chain in, head in. If I can get this attached to my center, my core, my hip, that's even better. Okay? Even on someone, like I'll do this to you, and you'll be able to manipulate it. Let's do that in fact. Okay? Boom, you get to here. You make a mistake, you go down under. Right? Just take one, drop your weight and pull down. I can give it to you. Nope.
Put your arm in, put your wrist on top of it.
Yeah.
You were trying to pull like this, and that hand down.
Here, get up, make your shins over, and turn this
Your wrist
over.
up. So your wrist is on his wrist.
Now drop your weight.
Quick for you back.
See, I'm gonna try to fight you.
Now transition to the other side so you can get it in.
Okay.
Again.
That's hard though, to do this and keep the hand up.
Yeah.
Especially because I'm bigger and strong.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm about 230 myself, 5'8". But his height, it would still be hard.
Reach up.
But I mean, it's too, so.
Right? And that's
the hardest part.
That's where this is important.
Yeah.
Yeah,
You might take that first.
Okay.
Let's work. Here. 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 Drop the weight. Okay. Right. You do it.
so you do it at the same exact time.
We're working really hard, right? And for you to make that work on me, is a little bit tough. If I'm actively engaged in preventing you to do something, right?
Yep.
Which means, hopefully, if I'm not surprised by what's happening, right? It's easier for me to fight, right? I'm bad guy, you're defender, right? I go do something, you engage, you bridge the gap, you take control, right? Automatically, you're gonna start inserting yourself in it, and immediately, as soon as you feel this pressure, you go. Okay? No, that's fine. So, practicing that transition is super, super important because that's not about strength now, right?
No, leverage.
You can be a lot lighter,
Yeah.
and it's all just feel.
Yeah.
As
Like
a
you said,
matter
how
of
I did to you, how I do it, how
Oh,
natural.
just-
I swim to
it's
the
so
around.
natural, yeah.
I felt you push, I'm like, oh, it's going
nice and smooth. And that initial contact, right? So if I get to here, right?
Yeah.
If I go, this can happen almost automatically.
Yeah.
It can almost happen if you work, again, you're not here, we can't work it, but this can actually work into a, you can do, make it into an arm drag. Stack it up a little bit, okay? Right? So we get to here. You see the cheat? I haven't talked about it yet.
Popping the eye before you grab it.
Yeah, okay?
You did see it.
Yeah.
Okay? Where whatever's happening, you go through and go, run! Okay?
It's that momentary.
That helps. Now, I'm not hitting, but I would actually just face palm him or finger jab him.
Yeah.
Okay? Not fight earners, no magic there. Just hopefully to create this type of
Yeah.
sensorial distraction, maybe some damage, certainly a little bit of pain, but not a fight ender. Okay?
Yeah.
But what I want is this person's head to go like this,
Yeah.
and for all of their attention for a second to go,
Oh shit.
ah, so I can then go and immediately not even hang out here, okay? Go, okay? Now, what do you do here? We're gonna work on that later, but really, right away, you start attacking, you start pushing and attacking, okay? If I can't push him, that's fine. So if, Sherry, like if it was you, and maybe me, and you had this here, and you couldn't push me, you can still go, oh,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
That's not-
Take those knees, and if he's pushing into me instead, right, then I'm just gonna keep on rotating. Okay? Right? And this is where hopefully you're working a little bit of your grappling game, okay? Whether it's judo, jiu-jitsu, or aikido, because it's gonna really help you learn how to screw people into the ground. Once you're attached to somebody's center,
You could have stepped right in front of me.
right? Right. I can walk him almost all day long, like this,
Big face, man.
right? Almost all day long. Even if I'm on the rear. Okay? At some point, he either goes, his body gets too far in front of his feet, or you do this, and he goes down. Okay? And that's only if you stay that long. Again, it's all completely judgmental, right? If I get to here, right, and I tried to just rub that jaw, and I didn't, the weapon's almost out, I have that thing here, right? Right? I might not be able to really work this, right? I'm gonna push him, oh, that didn't work. I might throw this, hook it, come back if I can, if not, you throw the elbow across. And you might have to push kick, you disengage. Right? If I told you any of this was gonna work, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, I'd be completely full of shit. Right? Right? Again, shit fails for me. I'm big and really experienced.
Yeah.
So, because you just can't tell. Okay? So, have you worked your failure?
Yes.
Other failure?
Yeah.
So, now,
Yeah.
here's what we're going to do. Okay? We're going to go ahead, and we'll use the shields afterwards too. Okay? We're going to go ahead and sort of strike on your bridge. Okay? So, you can hold this probably with your non-drawing hand. Okay, you don't have to scoop to your shoulder. Okay? Doesn't take too long. All right. So again, we're putting the training artificiality back in the drill because now I know which hand he's going to draw. I'm going to go for jump before. But that's not what we're trying to get out of this particular aspect of training. Okay? Okay? Not hard, just, again, we're just practicing to make the contact, right?
Oh, okay. I put it on so I don't forget.
You're just gonna take the hand, you're gonna place it across your chest like so, kind of, depending on flexibility, like this. Okay, good enough. It's all good. There we go. Okay, so now we put the training artificiality back because I know exactly what's on the weapon side. Again, that's not what this particular aspect of training is for, right? When I bridge, I'm gonna try and make contact with the non or the secondary hand, okay? Now that could be, we'll see the simple with the palm, right? Okay, just demonstrated over here, right? If he goes to bridge, I'm going to go, right, here. This could be there, right? Right? And then to here. The important part about this is that it's going to touch transition. It's got to follow that primary hand, the primary control hand, okay? So when I bridge, I go right in, okay? Bridge, right? Elbow and through. Everything else stays the same. Doesn't matter. Right? Get up. Right? Watch. Use my head that time.
Yeah.
Okay.
Just out of frame. Yeah.
Right? Came in and purposely did this. Right here. Right? So we'll start with the palms first. Just because it's easy, because we can connect the two, right? It's this. Right?
Yeah.
It's less difficult to do 1, 2, 3 in steps, but if you go, right, that's all one. And that's very similar to just folding the elbow right here, right? If this misses, check it out, doesn't matter. We'll go anyway. So if you miss on the extension, right, you catch it on the pull. This becomes a hook.
Okay.
Okay? You're going to go in with the thumbs. In most circumstances with, like in grappling stuff, they say, oh, use your thumbs, right? But because we're trying specifically to grab, right, you want that. And it's not as hard as people think, right? But you might miss. You just take it to pull. Okay? And then you can get thumb like you can, okay? Let's work that entry. Right, again, so we're going to walk through this bridge, reach, and then directly transition into your inside or your outside. Okay. Yeah, there we go. Fix it. There you go. Good. Stop. Good. You want to go ahead and go for yours. And that's the important part, right? So people who carry, and I deal with law enforcement all the time. Okay? They're just starting to get the hang of it. Okay? It's finally integrating into law enforcement that because you have a gun doesn't mean that that's the first thing you try to use. Okay? At close range, you're not gonna, right? Action beats reaction, right? If he knows he has a gun, a knife in his hand, okay, in his pocket, let's put it in his pocket, okay? He knows that he's gonna draw his knife. I don't know whether he's gonna draw a knife or not, okay? That means he's faster than me already. You understand that? Yeah. A decision has already been made. I'm still in limbo.
He knows he wants to draw it.
So I'm going to have to be reactive, okay? And if we both attempt to draw at the same time, the likelihood of me making a lethal stop before you are also able to make a lethal stop is very low, okay? Very, very low.
Because he was already having in his mind.
Right.
So he's already thinking of drawing.
Already planned out. You know.
Right? And then knife, so remember, the winner of a knife fight dies on the way to the hospital, right? So even if I have a fast draw, let's say I'm one of these guys who goes, I go to the range all the time and I practice, I've got, sub-second draws with rounds on target. That's great. Doesn't mean shit.
Can you do it when someone's charging?
One, can you do it under pressure, right? to, can you make it immediately lethal? Okay? From here to here, if I drop at close compression and fire off rounds, unless I can hit him in his computer in that 1.5 seconds it takes, I'm going to eat that. And I better hope it's this instead of this. Okay? And again, go on YouTube, watch the videos of cops getting killed at close range. Happens all the time. Or there's videos you can watch. I posted some on the Facebook page. Guys get shot 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 times in the torso. They're still up, knife in hand, walking after the cop or trying or stumbling. They don't even know they're dead yet. If they get a piece of that person on the way through, you still can die just as easily. Okay? Right?
Especially like that transition, I felt it hit the air. I'm like, oh, that probably would have hit my feet artery and I would have blooded that.
Possible, depending on how deep it goes, sure.
Yeah.
But anyways, so transitions are important, distance is important. So yeah, again, if I'm armed, I'm not even going to go for it. I'm going to try to get to here, see if I can work this, work it. If he's not, I'm headbutting as I push, right? Headbutting as much as I can, staying locked on. If I can get that dislodged, if at some point I can strip this, I'll work that, but I'm not going to try for that. We can work on strips. Strips are not hard, okay? But strips are they're not even techniques. Strips are movements of opportunity, like joint locks. Yeah, you can't go for a joint lock. You can't go for a disarm, okay? A disarm happens because the opportunity lends itself when or it happens by accident. That happens a lot too. Yeah. You're fucking around wrestling and somebody gets a weird wrist position and something comes out. Oftentimes, I think from most of what I've seen, that's more likely than a purposeful disarm. Okay? But you can do it. Okay, let me see the notes here. Right? Now, I'll hold it first. Okay, so here we go.
Yes, sir.
No. Okay, so I'm going to hold it kind of down low. Right? Same thing. At some point, I'm going to go for something in here. On your bridge, I know you're reaching for this. It's a little bit hidden by this. Okay, I'm going to try and keep it, right? But I want you to bring that leg up, that knee up, into this as pretty solid.
On your entry?
Yeah, on that initial step if you can. Okay? Again, where's that? Yep. No, we're good. Pull. Good. You're spinning too soon. You'll be backing up.
You back up first?
You'll be backing up a little bit. Come on, get it. Just go.
Push him.
Who's calling me?
Bring it behind him.
Here you go. Here you go. You get inside. Boom. Right? Oh, doesn't work. Oh, here we go. We gotta do the hack. We gotta do the hack. Okay, we need the patch back in too. So the hack, right? The hack is good, particularly if I'm not going to go straight in the middle. Okay, you can use it in the middle, right? Just turn your hand around and just grab it. Don't even put your hand, just turn it around. Okay. Now you're going to bring this up like here. Don't let it. Okay. Right. So remember when I did the seatbelt in the active shooter training?
Yes.
Right? Right? When you walk into crowds, a hack is that same position. Right? So what we're going to be looking at doing is, as I go in to reach for this with my primary control hand, this hand's going to do this.
It's almost like an axe hand.
Okay, yeah. Okay? Now that can be done either linearly, okay, or line up a little bit, or it can be done. Can be done here, right? And how that's going to work is I'm not going to teach you. So if I come in and I decide I'm going to come here, this is going to happen like so.
Yeah.
Okay?
You're gonna spot you, get it dizzy.
Yeah.
Not an auto was to hit that.
You're going to strike into that mandibular nerve, into the outer part that is the vein here, that's nerve that has to it, and that's nerve. There's a large nerve bundle that goes through here. The one you see the karate chop, and then you go down.
Yeah.
Okay? But it does hurt. Okay? I've been hit there hard enough to actually see stars. Getting hit in the neck. Because there's no, if you get hit above that jawline, the head moves, right? So some of the inertia, the transfer of that energy is lost in the movement of the head.
Yeah.
When you strike the neck, it doesn't go anywhere. It doesn't have the kind of flex. So all that force is absorbed directly into that structure and transferred up into the brain. Okay? Long story short, if I get to here, I go, bam, right? He turned his head because he knew something was happening, but in most cases, his head would probably still be here, and this is going to wind up directly in front of the throat. Okay? Very disorienting and hopefully even incapacitating. Okay? Boom, here. Okay? And then from there, you can either do this, right?
That's what wait for the knee. That's what I'm like that.
Right? You get to here. You can definitely then transition into your cradles if you want to. I probably wouldn't let go of this once I had it, particularly if I had you moving. Okay? And if you got up, I'll just kick them on the way out. You know, like if you guys head up, then I'll just follow and just if I had to.
Yeah.
There's that. So it's the hack's gonna happen, right? So again, combined motions, right? Not. It can be done, so it initially was taught like so, okay? Initially was taught like this, 1, 2, okay? Or like a 1, 2,
So it's simultaneous.
right? This type of
Yeah.
motion. This, you can do if you train it, because it's a lot like a regular sweep, like in college or something. But in that moment in time, you're increasing your possibilities for errors, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so I tend to not like the idea of catching just carrying things. You can do it, I can do it, but you know, I'd rather just get a lot less chances. Right? So there. Well, let's work that a little bit. And again, you see, even though I went relatively quickly with him just then, I still just went
Yeah.
right on the part of the pec toward the trap. Doesn't take much to go ahead and then steer that up into the chest.
Right.
So now we're going to work on, we'll put this up together, okay? The draw, you can touch the draw, okay? We'll work through, right? Like, oh crap, this doesn't work, keep pushing on me, I'm going to transition out, right? Drop down, right? Once this touches, once anything touches, you pin it there and just drop your weight on the rest. Okay? Okay? Once you can do that, then we'll worry about stripping, or if I can get from here to here. Okay? I'll try and work that. Right? Maybe this, if you can get far enough, and most likely not, I'll work this. Okay? Once I can get to here, I can start pounding. Whatever else I can do, might as well strip that away then. Boom. So, the most important thing here, your takedown line. Okay? Let's work those directions. We'll just go from here. Alright, so I get to here. You don't always have to transition to the outside. Okay? Right, if you get to here and he's up, you get this takedown. Alright, that still works. Right? Do you want to go into your side pin? I don't know. It's completely up to you. You might drop down. Do this stuff. Right? Okay? Right? And that's not really intended to strip it.
He also knows where to put his body because he has his chest like right in the center.
Oh yeah.
Okay?
That's good. He's done this before.
Maybe a couple times. But from here, if I do this, this isn't intended to strip that away really. It's really just intended to try and lock it. So this hand is free now.
Yeah.
Okay? But I might not. Even from here, I might pin. Okay, yeah. and then start trying to go ham on something. Because he's not gonna stay there. He's gonna try to push me, pull me on my head. So this is, you can get this takedown, but it puts you in that danger zone where his tool's still available.
Oh, yeah, see, I was.
Yeah, you're gonna either try to push my chin and pull my head, you're gonna try to roll me out the back,
Right.
all kinds of other stuff can happen there. So you got the rear, right? The draw, boom, right from here. I got my inside cradle, that didn't work. If I go from here and I can't get that forward one down, right? I just don't have it. He's leaning into me too much. This is important. So you don't transition to the outside unless you've got this stimulus here, right? Stand before upright, right? Yeah, okay? That's when I'm gonna dump and switch. See how he kind of stumbles forward?
Yeah.
Okay? But you don't, I mean, you can, but I tend not to go to make that transition unless what he's telling me is that I have to. Okay? And then if I do that transition, most of the time I go directly into the takedown. Okay?
And I'm telling you have to, because I'm the one that keeps pushing you back.
Right, exactly. Right, you're telling me what I have to do. Forward, I'm pushing, not gonna work. Boom, from here, right away.
You just drag him on his face, right?
Yeah, right to his face. Okay? There you go. Those are solid.